This is the talk show that takes a no-holds-barred approach to politics, where truth and integrity are the standard and the Constitution honored. From Renaissance Studios, this is Champion News Talk Radio.
Good morning and welcome to our Christmas edition of Champion News Talk Radio. It's the Sunday before Christmas. Hopefully all your shopping's done and you're ready to go. This is Carol Parisi.
And I noticed that she's on her best behavior here with Christmas coming.
I don't want coal in my sock, Jack.
Too late.
Too late. It's too late for me. Today our founder, Jack Roser, and myself have a very special guest and a good friend to Champion News, Mr. Rick Newton.
Good to be here.
Rick is the founder and leader of the Tri-Coun-Teas.
Correct.
And not counties, it's T-E-A-S-Ts. And we're here today for this special show. Welcome, Rick. How are you?
Thank you. Very good. Glad to be here.
And we do say Merry Christmas on this show, as politically incorrect as that may be. How are you today, Jack?
Oh, I'm just fine. I'm recovering from the shock of the last election, and we've got a lot of things to do on our plate to get moving. Just one comment. We apparently are going to go into a dive in the economy here. Everybody's worried about that. And it's nice to have our supreme leader, the President, Obama. It's nice to have us encouraging us to go ahead. We leaders. I happen to have a company, and but I'm a little puzzled. Now I'm some kind of a scurvy dog that's eating a nice lunch and leaving nothing for the curs around me. All of us leaders are bad guys now. Is that a way to get the team moving?
You know, coming from this president who has never as much run a lemonade stand in his life in any type of free market, he's always been a political hack.
There's a book that came out about him called The Amateur.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't put any credibility in his leadership. And I think we need to, you know what, I find the leadership and the best form of servant leadership is with folks like Rick Newton, who actually did win one of our champion awards back a couple months ago as a servant leader. Now, let me just ask, let's roll back to what got you involved in this movement real quick, Rick?
I think specifically it was the election of Obama back in 2008, and I was scratching my head, and I was, like Jack was talking about a few minutes ago, about, the doldrums of the last election. That's the way I felt right after 2008 election, and I could not understand.
Well, why? You knew nothing of Obama. Was it because he was
I was very aware of Obama.
Yeah,
very aware of Obama.
You could tell he came from Chicago and he had a clear record.
Well, if you did a little bit of homework, it didn't take much to figure out, what his thought process was.
Read a book he wrote. Read his book.
Look at his friends. Look at the people he hangs out with and that he associates with.
How come, do you think, Rick, the majority of the American people do not see him for who he is? And because his message was compelling, it is what we needed. We were a broken nation. We were going through a lot of debt crisis.
Who says we're a broken nation?
Back in 2008. But Jack, with all the financial debauchery, look at all the things that were happening in 2008 financially it was horrible. Hope and change. We need hope. People want hope.
Let's put things back in a little perspective. What was the interest rate at that time in 2008? The general interest rate that was being charged for homes and with the banking rate?
Probably about 4.
Yeah, 4, maybe less, a little bit.
3.85.
Something like that. Now let's go back to when Reagan started. I got a clear memory of it. 18 to 20%.
Yes, absolutely.
That was trouble.
Yes.
This was a little zephyr of a problem compared to what Reagan got into.
Right.
When Reagan was elected, I got a letter from a financial advisory group, and it said the whole thing is that we're in for a runaway inflation. And similarly, the same week, the other outfit said the information's all in, it's going to be runaway deflation. So there's a lot of disagreement about why we were so high, 18 to 20% interest rate, because that really does freeze home selling and business and everything else. That's far, far beyond the simple thing that confronted Obama. But at the time, I remember I said, well, they're saying one say it's going to go high, one's going to go low. Reagan will muddle through the middle. You know, there's a great lot of thought behind muddling. There's a lot of situations where you get into where you can't go back and you can't go forward, but you're going to find a way. Maybe it's sideways, maybe it's up, maybe it's down. But you can muddle through a lot of things where other people have looked at one factor and lost their guts. And Reagan didn't. And he managed to get that thing rolling along, and people got organized. And when we exited from Reagan, we had very normal interest rates. The nation had really been set up in a very good way. This guy...
But the ideology of
This guy
Reagan,
doesn't have anywhere near the problem that Reagan had.
Reagan loved America. Reagan loved the American dream.
He didn't insult the leaders. What is this business of criminalizing all of the leaders of this country and making us the goats?
You didn't build that.
Yeah, you didn't build that.
No.
But it's the way that the way that Obama operates altogether. I mean, he demonizes his opposition, and he creates on the other side. He looks at the people, his supporters, and this gets to your question, Carol. How did so many people come together to vote for him? He treats them as victims, and they buy into it. And when you get into the other side of it, which is something we're going to get into when we talk about education, we have so many people that are not sufficiently educated to be able to take the time to familiarize themselves with issues, so that when they go to the polls, they go there with a clear mind.
They buy into sound bites and something that
Absolutely.
feels good for the moment.
Right.
I just got the advisory from I'm on Social Security. I'm 89 years old, and I didn't start it till I was 70, but I'm on Social Security whether I need it or not. But so they send you an advisory every year, and this one says it's going to go up another $100 a month. So that normally comes out in a thing that unfolds about that big. Today, it's this big. And what's on both sides of this thing? How you can get more money out of the government, which agency you should go to if you want to get more. It is full of a bunch of stuff of making people dependent on the government, and really raiding the taxpayer is what we should call that.
Well, you know, it's funny because what you're saying, what Obama did, were very clean, concise Saul Alinsky tactics of where you demonize your opponent, and then you feed the people's need. You create a crisis.
Does everybody here know who Saul Alinsky is?
Well, we do. Saul Alinsky was the radical from Chicago that started out in the what's that?
I think he called it the Industrial Areas Council. He dedicated his book to the devil.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, from the yards.
Yeah. Gives you a good idea about that. But he wrote the book on effective work with the people in an area, the lower end of society, and how you operate with that. So anybody from any direction could do good or bad, but of course Alinsky, with a dedication to the devil, we know why it was so attractive to Obama. And he spent his life around here dealing with people in the barrios and so forth that were on the lower end. And that's all he's brought to his presidency. Why would anybody want somebody whose only logic is based on compassion? He's got a lot of compassion for everybody. America was never built.
You have compassion. I've seen your compassion through St. Elizabeth's School. There's a difference between being compassion on a personal level.
That isn't what drives. This country is the most compassionate one ever. You could not fall down on West Madison Street and faint out without being dragged into the Harbor Light Mission. People will help you. Neighbors will help you. anytime you are in trouble, America's full of kind-hearted, capable people that'll grab a hold and straighten things out. And we really don't need,
A government
seldom
to
need
do
the
it.
government to run a soup line.
Well, if you take a look at Acorn was not just registering people to vote.
That's
in
Saul
their
Alinsky,
in
yeah.
their off hours. Remember that caught on tape video of this guy wanted to
Right.
start this
Prostitution
ring, and they were telling him how they could get an SBA loan.
Yeah.
So what they're doing is they're getting people used to the federal nipple.
Well, that's the
it's
problem.
particularly to notice this thing with Christmas coming. The fact of the matter is that America is full of generous and kind people. We've all had experiences like that when we needed help. People sprung up to do it for us.